Hello again. Right, in this video, we're going to start taking a look at the meat and potatoes of any trance track, the leads / plucks. I don't really want to separate out the leads and plucks because the plucks and leads tend to be built around the same kind of sound design principles of the Super Saw. Now, the Super Saw is like, I don't know, it's like guitars in rock music or vocals in pop tracks. It is just the core of any trance track. So there's a couple of principles I want to look at. The way I do them, there's loads of different ways of doing them, but let's go. Let's have a look at it now. Right, so we've got our foundation, our fundamentals, and up to this point, looking at the kick and the bass and some of the percussion and the mid basses, they are, what should I say? They really are what lays underneath the good stuff. You need to get them right, but it's not really why you're listening to a trance track. So for me, there's the three things in a trance track. It's the journey, the atmosphere, and the emotion of it. And that's what trance really developed into over the years. Not so much now. It's a slightly different thing now, which is fine, but this is what I like to contribute to a trance track. So I've put 3 leads into it, and for some reason I've used Zebra. I say some reason, and I'll tell you why it is, because I've mentioned this before many times, but when I'm making music, I do not do sound design. It's not something I really get into when I'm making music, unless there's something really specific that pops into my head. And I just happen to have more trance presets in Zebra than any other synth I own. I've probably created, I don't know, 1,000 presets in Sylenth, 1,000 trance presets over the years. But Sylenth isn't my go-to anymore. Sylenth has a specific sound, and I actually prefer the sound of Zebra, and I have got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of trance presets for it. To me, it's the closest plugin out there that isn't a specific emulation. It's the thing that sounds closest to the Roland JP8000 and 8080. So that's why I tend to go to it a lot. And I just like flicking through presets. Anyway, I'm waffling. Let's have a listen to what I've got. So I've got 3 lead lines. This is what we've got so far. So what you're hearing now, this would probably only ever be heard in the intro and the outro. It's not something you'd hear naked in the actual track itself. So let's just listen to leads by themselves. So I've got a little bit of cut-off automation going as well, which is always something you want to do. And let's just flick over to the mixer quickly. I'm going to solo these one at a time. On the lead 1 and lead 2, and like I said, I'm not differentiating between leads and plucks. Some of these would really be classed as plucks, I guess. But the actual underlying sound is pretty much the same. It's only your filter envelope that's really changing in these things a lot of the time. So I've got these 2 playing together on the same MIDI. So this is the left. I'm not going to go into sound design here. It's just a trance lead. And the same thing's happening on the right. So there are 2 varieties of the Super Saw, massive Super Saw sound. And they're both opening their filter at roughly the same time. And I've got them panned slightly left and right. So we're giving ourselves a nice big atmospheric wash to start with. And then in the middle, I've got all these grouped together. Am I doing anything? No, I'm not doing any processing at the moment. And this is what's coming right down the middle. Now, one of the reasons I chose this sound in particular for the center is because it is pluckier. It's more dramatic, and it has the noise. If you can hear the noise one of the oscillators is a white noise source. So it's quite in your face right down the middle. You don't necessarily want that kind of thing going on the outside. Now, in terms of processing, I've probably got something very similar on each channel. So Replica XT, wake up, Black Hole, some compression, some EQ, which you can see here, and I'm going to have them ducked quite a lot because they're such massive sounds. In terms of processing, Replica XT and Black Hole are really there to make you feel like you're in this huge space. That's what trance does a lot of the time, isn't it? It's this great big euphoric sound. Lead 2 is probably the same. Yeah, Replica, Black Hole. For some reason, I put LFO tool in front of the compressor. That's a silly thing to do. Let's just have a listen to them with and without the processing. Actually, I'm going to group all this together. Everything except LFO tool. So you can hear how simple the sound really is. It's just a super sort of lead pluck. So because we are at the point now where we've already got a lot of stuff going on. I mean, we are, where are we? We're already, we're still just building the track up, and we've already got 20 channels going on. So at this point with the leads, because they are such big sounds, this is when I might start compressing as I go. I just want to rein them in a little bit. Let's look at the other one as well. You're probably going to hear a very similar kind of effect on this. Yeah, very simple sound. I've turned all the effects off in Zebra, by the way. So this is a more filtered, more detuned sound than lead 1. But still a very, excuse me, I got a cough. Very simple sound in its own right. Now the final lead, the Big Daddy, we are doing something similar again. Let me just group them together. I am... Come on. Should always put a LFO tool at the end. Right, let's start that again. I might have contradicted myself. I think I might have left some... Yeah, I've left some effects on this one. The other two, I turned them off. So I've left the reverb. We've got some EQ, some wave shaping, some compression, and some delay built into this preset. But see, again, it's a very simple preset. One oscillator, which is a detuned saw, and some noise, and 2 filters in this case. And then my effects back on. And these together, we're trying to control these as much as possible without detracting from the filter opening and closing. You want some dynamic change in it. When you're opening filters, you don't want it to sound exactly the same, or to sound too squashed when you open up. You want it to be dynamic up to a point. But the difference between a filter closed and a filter open can be huge. It can be quite a lot of decibels. And what that'll mean is in a big, dense trance track, by the time you've got the filter open, you have to turn everything down. And then when you close the filter again, it disappears. So you have to bring filter closed and filter open together in some respect, if that makes sense, in the mix. So those are the 3 leads I have going at the moment. This wouldn't be like the sum total of what I'd have in a track, but I'm just trying to illustrate how I would layer some of them together for an overall effect. So we've got the washy, kind of milder leads left and right to add some space. And then we've got the big, plucky, noisy lead in the middle. So when we listen to everything together, what we've done so far will probably start to make a little bit more sense. As I mentioned earlier, the sub bass by itself doesn't sound massively impressive, but I know what I want it to do later on. So let's bring everything together. So bringing the sub in and out, all of a sudden you're going to start to hear what its role is here, what its job is. It really is to underpin everything else that we've got going on. So with it not there, the whole track kind of falls apart. So it's at this point I might start using R-Bass. If I was going to use R-Bass, if I wanted to tweak the sub a little bit. In fact, let's do it. At this point, I don't feel I need to. But let's just switch it on and see what we can do. So immediately I'm thinking that around 86 Hertz, maybe it could do with a little push. But as I'm sweeping it, you can hear that R-Bass is emphasizing the sub in certain places. It might be something you want to do later. I'm not going to do it now, though. It's just to show you what you can do with it. And then in terms of what the leads are doing, let me just go over to the master channel. Ooh, come on, cough. So I've got 2 plugins. Well, I've actually got more plugins. I've got 4 plugins on my master. One thing I'll just mention now quickly is that I have a limiter on the master and it's only catching peaks. I'm not doing any gain reduction or anything like that. Well, I'm not trying to push anything in terms of volume. But I also have a utility on the master, which is increasing overall mix level by 6 decibels. And the reason I do that is because I mix fairly quietly. Like the kick I've got is set to -14 at the moment. So I'll often start with a kick about -12, just so that I know that I won't run out of headroom later. So if I solo this kick without my utility switched on, so my master is at -14 with the kick. If I switch the utility back on, we're exactly where we expect to be, -8, because I'm increasing it by 6 dB. So I'm providing myself with plenty of headroom, but I'm also increasing the level back up to roughly where it should be. So the whole mix by itself with the utility, I'm just going to switch the limiter on just in case it clips. See, I'm mixing pretty close to 0 dB, but when I switch the utility back off again, I've got loads of headroom for mastering. Yeah, you get me? Good. One little cheat plugin I want to show you. This is an incredibly fantastic plugin. Is Ozone Imager. Now we've got the leads in, I can show you what this does. You could also put this on the lead bus maybe, but just quickly, if you've ever see the Ozone mix bundles on sale, just get them. There's so much fantastic stuff in there. But just listen to the width. Ozone Imager just adds free width, and there's little to no cost of doing it. See a little bit of problem there. So used sparingly, this can add fantastic amounts of width without really introducing any phasing issues. Just as a side note. But what I really want to look at here Go away. What we're going to do is we're going to have a look at a spectrum display of the entire mix. So we've probably still got a little bit too much volume in the kick here. I've got this set to react fairly slowly, just so that we can see the frequencies a little bit more calmly, so it's not all jumping up and down. But have a look at what the leads are doing and where they're doing it. So this is without the leads, fairly balanced. And a lot of these peaks are because we're not doing any compression per channel at the moment, apart from a couple of the leads. I'm doing this deliberately so that you can see you can actually get something together without, you don't have to spend hours mixing as you go, right? I've found over the years that the more you start fiddling with things as you're composing, the more you back yourself into a core, and it becomes more and more difficult to get the track working, in my opinion. So I've left a lot of things as they are. So this mix might look a little bit jaggedy, but that's fine for now. Right, look at what the leads are doing when I bring them in. All around here. Take them out. So we've got this portion from about 300 or 400 hertz up to about 4,000. So what the leads are providing us, they really are providing you with the, like I said, the meat and potatoes of the mix. This is the most prominent part of where people are listening to, and this is where vocals tend to sit a lot as well. So there is a parallel between the super saws and the leads in trance tracks and vocals or any other prominent part of any other mix in other genres. So that's how I do it. You could easily lay 7 or 8 of these things together. Have a think about your melodies, how they're working together. Have a think about your note placement, so they're not all doing the same thing at the same time as well. I mean, that's another separate, complete video there. But assuming you know a little bit about scales and note placement and layering things on top of each other, these are just a few tips and tricks on how to make leads. So I hope you found this video useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Thanks everyone for watching. We really appreciate all the support from you guys. If you love this video, then smash a like, and if you want to be notified about new videos, hit the subscribe and notification buttons. Peace!